DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is go get an energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we're on part 4 of our now concluding mini-series of street smarts, the what, the why, and the how. Again, shout out to the person on YouTube who suggested that I talk about this. Again, very rarely does someone offer me a suggestion of something that I haven't talked about before that is actually a good suggestion. So shout out to that guy, whoever it was. Anyway, before we get started, 2 things. First of all, my text message line number is down below in the description. When we reactivate, start sending that again, you'll be getting those messages to your phone if you're a member of the text community. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to get access to our best coaching and trainings, like Bulletproof Mindset, 30 Days of Discipline, ASAP Confidence, Work on Your Game System, Next Mission Framework, How to Sell Yourself, and have me as your coach. I mean, all of that. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link's down below in the description. Getting into this, picking up on point number 10, right where we left off, of street smarts. Number 10, conflict resolution. All right, similar to how earlier we talked about negotiation, we talked about relationships, we talked about reading people. Conflict resolution requires all 3. You are negotiating, you are using your instincts, and you have to read people to resolve conflicts, whether you are involved in a conflict or you are the one trying to resolve a conflict between others that are not you. Street smart people have this ability to relax a situation that involves others and or themselves. In the literal streets, if you are bad at resolving conflict, you can end up dead or incarcerated if you don't know how to resolve a conflict. Your ability to resolve conflicts, to smooth things over, and to maintain relationships, again, whether it's a relationship that you are in or relationships between others, this is key to getting ahead in life, because all human beings are different. We all have different aims and different goals, and it is inevitable that there will be conflicts between us. Any of you who's in a leadership position, I know I have many people listening to this who have teams in your businesses. Those of you who are sales leaders in organizations, those of you who are managers, those of you who are sports coaches, at least on the team level, you have to deal with a lot of different personalities all the time. And your ability to resolve conflicts between them matters, because these people got to work together. These people have to play together. These people had to live together. They have to find a way to at least get along, even if they don't like each other, because it's for the betterment of the group, and it's your job to be able to resolve those conflicts and help them with their people skills that they may not have, but you better have. Any of you who's in a leadership position, you must have people skills. You can't lead without people skills. You see, you can get promoted in certain industries based on your performance, but you cannot lead without people skills. And what happens, unfortunately, in some organizations, especially in government, also happens in corporate, is that people get promoted based on their ability to do the job, but no one takes into account their ability to lead and engage with people. And if someone has a good ability to do the job but poor leadership skills, they would get promoted to a position in which they suck. And depending on what type of bureaucracy they're in, they may never get fired because they can't get fired because of the way the thing is set up. So this is how some of these organizations actually basically precipitate their own demise, by promoting people for the wrong reasons. Any of you who's in a leadership position, hopefully you're there because you know how to actually lead. You know how to actually deal with and communicate with people. That's the real leadership skill. It's not how good are you at the job that your subordinates have to do. It's how good are you at communicating with them about the job they have to do and making sure everybody stays on the same page. That's your real job. So people who can resolve conflicts become very valuable individuals, just because you can do something that most people can't do. Anytime you have a skill that most people need, but not everybody has, you're valuable. Simple as that. This is mostly this is a communication and people reading ability, conflict resolution. That's all it is. And it is more about having the right tone and the right energy than it is about having the right words necessarily. You should be good with your words, but it's not about the words. It's about the tone, energy, and you reading a situation for what it is and not misreading the situation as it is. Point number 11. And we're talking again today about street smarts, the what, the why, and the how. Number 11 is the hustler mentality. What is a hustler? If I had to put one word to describe a hustler is an opportunist. That's what a hustler is an opportunist. We talked earlier in this series about recognizing opportunity for what it is and taking advantage of opportunity and being opportunity oriented. A hustler is a natural opportunist. An opportunist is simply a person who sees opportunity more often than others do, and therefore they take advantage of and initiate action towards opportunities more often than others because they see things that other people simply don't see. This often comes out of, sometimes it's out of a need, sometimes it's out of desperation, and sometimes it's out of just the way that a person is. And many of us, especially those of you who are ambitious, you would like to just be this type of person who's always looking for and seeing opportunity, even if you don't necessarily, quote unquote, need the opportunity. You want to be the type of person who's always looking for an opportunity, even if you don't, quote unquote, need one. Even if you're not in a situation where things are dire, you still want to have this kind of hustler mindset. And this is what ambitious people are often looking for. They may not always have it, but they're looking for it, which gives you an opportunity. In fact, you're even looking means you might find it. If you're not looking for something, I doubt you find it. Rarely does it fall on your head. So hustlers see opportunities where other people do not. They create opportunities where other people see nothing is happening. They just create an opportunity out of nothing. And the term hustler sometimes has a negative connotation socially, but understand hustling can be done in a professional and above board manner. It's not just something that some street person does. Hustling is something you can do working in the government. You can do this working in corporate. You can do this working at a school. You can do this working at a 9-to-5 job with a suit on. You can still be a hustler. So street smart people are natural hustlers who will still be hustlers even when they are in what many of you may see as a formal or a professional setting. You are still hustling. Example is, I forget which shoe guy this was. This is a guy who had a shoe company. I can't remember which company it was. I was just listening to this story the other day. But this guy wanted to get his shoes, if I think of his name, I'll tell you, but he wanted to get his shoes seen at some fashion design show. And there was a fashion design show happening, and he wanted to display his shoes outside of the event, which was happening in like a busy part of New York City. So let's say it was Manhattan, something like that. He wanted to display his shoes outside of the venue because he was selling shoes and there was a fashion event. So he went to the city and, well, first of all, he was going to just display his stuff. But as soon as he tried to start displaying it, he was told by the police, hey, you got to have a permit to do that. So he goes to the city and asks, can he get a permit to do that? They said, no, we can't give you a permit to sell shoes on the street because you'd be like a street vendor. We can't give you a permit to do what you're trying to do. And he said, here's the opportunity. Here's the hustler right here. He asked the following question. Is there anything that you do give a permit for? See, most people wouldn't ask that question. Most people would say, well, okay, I can't do it the way I wanted to do it, so I guess I can't do it at all. He said, is there any way I could do it? He asked himself that question. Then he asked the person he was talking to, is there anything that you would give a permit for? They said, well, we do give permits if somebody is shooting a movie. So what he did was take his same display that he was going to do for displaying his shoes, and he went and hired some guy to hold a camera. He hired a couple actors and actresses to pretend like they were acting, and then he got the permit for the movie, and he had these people to make it look like a movie. And then when people, regular citizens, civilians walked by, he said to them, hey, would you like to be in our movie? And you can see our shoes at the same time. And that's how he was able to get his shoes displayed in front of the venue. Point being, folks, hustlers are always looking for the angle. They're always looking for the opportunity, even when there seems to not be an opportunity. They see things where other people don't see them. And when you hear many, what you call, I guess, rags to riches stories, it's people who were just opportunists. They were just hustlers who were always looking for some new opportunity. If you saw the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, that was about loosely based on the life story of one Jordan Belfort, who is a real person. In the movie, he was played by Leonardo DiCaprio. But you see in that movie, this guy, where's he come from? He was some nobody guy who didn't have a job. He goes to a job interview, and the job that he gets hired for is selling penny stocks. So there's a bunch of basically low-level salespeople selling these cheap stocks that are, for the most part, junk, worth not much. He gets the job, and he sees an opportunity where everybody else didn't see anything. And he builds a huge business, makes a whole lot of money. There were some things he was doing that were not above the board, but he made a whole lot of money, created a whole lot of success and opportunity for a whole lot of people simply because he saw an opportunity where other people didn't. Now, some of you listening to this may say, well, the Wolf of Wall Street, well, he eventually got caught and he committed crime and he went to jail, and all of those things are true. This does not invalidate the point that he saw an opportunity. So don't allow the fact that he ended up, getting caught doing something he shouldn't have been doing to mean that you shouldn't be looking for opportunity. You should still be looking for opportunity where there is none. Hustlers do this naturally. I told you the story how I got on playing basketball. All right, I had to find an opportunity where there was none. There was no opportunity there, but I found it because I was looking. Usually you find things that you're looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Are you looking for opportunities? And again, hustlers find ways to make things work even when it seems like nothing is happening. And they are hustlers even in formal settings. They can read other people very well. They discern what's happening versus what is being presented and what's being said. They're not always the same thing. Hustlers think creatively and they come up with solutions that others do not come up with because others are only relying on their book smarts, i.e. what they have been taught and trained to see, whereas hustlers teach and train themselves to see things that nobody else notices and things that other people don't perceive and other things that people do not imagine. Because again, book smart people are waiting for things to look like what the book said they would look like, whereas hustlers they're not referring to a book. They're referring to what they know and they're relying on their instincts, not on books. There's a big difference between the two. So hustlers rather are always looking for an angle to move themselves forward or ahead or to protect their interests. They're always looking like, what's the next play? What's the next move that I can make here? Book smart people may be a little bit overly reliant on what they have already been told, what they have already prepared themselves to know, and how they thought things would go. Again, this is why book smart people tend to make very good employees, because they know how to follow a process, follow the rules, and color by numbers. Whereas many people with hustlers mentalities usually end up as entrepreneurs, whether they become full-time, whether it's later in their lives, or they do something as a side business, or as we call side hustle. It's called side hustle for a reason, because they always have this mindset of looking at other opportunities. They're not just okay with just following the rules and painting by numbers. Question is, which one are you? It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you're only one or you're only the other. It's just I'm giving you a breakdown explanation so it makes more sense to you why certain people do certain things. The mentality of a hustler is to always be open to things changing and things being different than how you thought they were going to be, or not even thinking about how things are going to be, and you just show up and let's just figure it out. I remember Kanye West once posted on social media, he said, my new strategy is to have no strategy. And that's the concept. That's the mindset of a hustler. I'm going to show up. I know what I'm capable of. I know what tools I have available to me, and I know I'm resourceful. So I'm just going to show up, and whatever happens, I'll figure it out as we go. I mentioned Tim Grover an episode or two ago. In his book, Relentless, he has a section where he says the highest level people, he used certain terms for them, but the highest level people, they don't need a full plan laid out. Whatever happens, they'll know what to do. That's the mindset of a hustler. Whatever happens, I'll know what to do. I will figure it out as we go. Moving on, point number 12. Today's topic, once again, is part 4 of our 4-part series, the street smarts, the what, the why, and the how. Number 12, operating in chaos. Street smart people understand that no situation ever stays the same, and even one that they are fully prepared for may go in the exact opposite direction at any given time. Street smart people operate very well within chaos. Chaos is usually the result of change, the result of shifts. Now, why does change create chaos? Change creates chaos because many people, again, many of you, have been trained since you were 3 years old to sit down, shut up, follow the rules, and do what you're told, and don't do anything other than what you were told to do. And when things change and what you were told to do is no longer the modus operandi, it creates chaos because it creates discomfort in a whole lot of people who are used to being told exactly what to do, and doing exactly what to do doesn't work anymore. That creates chaos because there's a lot of consternation because a lot of people don't know what to do and there's nobody giving them the rules. And this is the reason why many people shouldn't be entrepreneurs, because if no one's telling you the rules, you wouldn't know what to do. And hustlers, street smart people, they are willing to operate in chaos. They like chaos, and this is where opportunities get made. You all may notice, some of you may know this, is that during COVID, which is a period of chaos, it was a period of disorder for a lot of people in the world, that a lot of money got made by certain people during that time period. Why? Because in chaos, hustlers find opportunity. Actually, sometimes hustlers create chaos just to make an opportunity for themselves. They do it on purpose. There's a lot that can be said about that if you want to read some books about what happened during COVID. Street smart people understand no situation stays the same. And again, even if you're fully prepared for a situation, it might not go the way you prepare for it to go, which means you're ready for the contingency. The only predictable thing in life is that it's unpredictable. And street smart people are prepared for things to go the exact opposite of what they thought they would be at any given moment. This is, again, why some people who may not be great students tend to become entrepreneurs, because they have that hustler mentality in them and they like operating in a chaotic world, or again, what most book smart people would call chaotic, they see as normal. On the other hand, those who, again, are really good at operating within structure, and they tend to get good grades because good grades are a result of good structure, And then they go work somewhere and get the professional version of good grades, which usually means a consistent paycheck and promotions and bonuses at the end of the year. Entrepreneurs are operating in a jungle of chaos. That's entrepreneurs good. They live in the jungle. There's no guaranteed paycheck, no guaranteed success, no guaranteed next meal in the jungle, even if you do everything right. Whereas when you live in the zoo, you know the meal's coming at 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. All right, that's why the two key assets to entrepreneurship are having strong balls, and a strong stomach. Why? Because you got to have the balls to try things and take risks and operate within chaos. And you got to have a strong stomach to deal with the uncertainty of what might happen in the future. Entrepreneurs tend to have a taste for chaos, whereas people who don't have this hustler mentality, they don't have this as much. It doesn't tend to be so much of a trait for them. So those of you who are willing to deal with chaotic situations, or those of you who find yourself in a chaotic situation, whatever it may be, I want you to understand there's an opportunity in there somewhere if you will look for it. If you would ask yourself, where is it? You'll probably start noticing things. There's an opportunity in here. If there was an opportunity here, what would it be? That's a great question to start asking yourself. In any situation in life, even when things are looking terrible. If there was an opportunity here, what would it be? What would it look like? What would it sound like? Where would I find it? There is one. You just got to ask yourself, where is it, and find it. Simple as that. All that said, everybody, let's recap today's class. This is again part 4 of our 4-part mini-series, Street Smarts, the what, the why, and the how. Number 10, conflict resolution. Similar to how we talked about negotiation earlier, street smart people have the ability to calm situations involving others. This involves to be a conflict negotiator. You got to be able to read people. You got to be able to build relationships, and you have to be strong at discernment. You need all three. Number 11, a hustler mentality. Hustlers are opportunists. See opportunities where other people do not. Create them where other people see absolutely nothing. Again, hustler has a negative connotation, but you can be a hustler even in a formal setting. And point number 12, operating in chaos. Street smart people understand that no situation ever stays the same. Even one that they are fully prepared for may go opposite from how you expect. Only predictable thing in life is that it's unpredictable. So hustlers have the mentality, the street smart people have the mentality of the hustler, understanding that things may change and they're willing to operate in chaos. They will even create chaos to create opportunities for themselves. They'll do it on purpose. All that said, everybody, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Have me as your direct coach so you can deal with the chaos happening in your life. You can be more discerning, better people person, better at negotiating, better at seeing opportunity, creating opportunity, and seizing it with my direct help as your coach. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all